Hi, everyone. Everyone have their seatbelts on? Haven't seen action like this maybe ever. How about that? So, thank you, God. Volatility's back. How's everyone doing today? Okay, well, I have to take a victory lap for the company because what happened between Friday and Monday can make your week, your month, your quarter. It's days like that, or they could be very damaging as well. Oh, Sinatra, how are you? Long time. DJ, those are my first two initials. Anyway, so prior to Paul's speech, this was the prep you had in face. So I said I was shorting the Dixie 98.40 up there. I was wrong over 80, previous high right here. And the debate that we were having was what would happen if and when risk off happened in the markets again. And I was talking to Blake. I said, I've seen a couple of bursts that tell me that when we have risk off, which is something that Blake warned about prior to Powell, although it was a different source that disappointed the market, Blake talked about we could be down 3% on the day. So maybe you raise cash. And then Steve, through his rundown, was going through the metals and showed silver with a potential target up around 1780. He showed that. I said, yeah, I think we're going there, bro. And we got within 3 cents. So I would say that you had pretty good preparation for what happened Friday. I don't know if anyone could have had preparation for what happened last night. First of all, we're not open. I'll talk to the guys about having face on Sunday night. I could hear a big cheer going up across the team. Just kidding, April Fools. Anyway, so okay, I know. What have you done for me lately? So now we know, at least for now, we know that when the S&Ps go down, the dollar goes down, and when the S&Ps recover, the Dixie recovers. So that should be able to help you because sometimes you don't get, you know, real good technical points in in all of the markets, but maybe you have one market that you could key off of. And I was keying off 1780 over the weekend was my number in silver to attempt shorts, and I did it early. But I keyed what was happening in silver for gold entries, and I was still a little early at 48. I'm out at 29. So I think what we have going here are two drives now. Looking at the 4 hour, it diverged, but pretty good mo. Silver actually looks a little weaker. So I still think there's another shot up to a new high in silver. Gold, as you can tell, silver's up 1.43, gold's only up 0.28. Gold may not have the juice for another high, but the RSI says it's possible. So what also says it's possible is this. So I've been talking to everyone you have to pay attention to the yuan and what's happening with the yuan. And we made new all-time highs, and there was even a move in the aftermarket. So here's your daily. We are beginning to diverge. To me, it looks like just like silver, we have a 2 developing here, which could imply, a pullback and then another high to get a 3. And it'd be nice if it did that. And the next time we make a high, even if it's not today, the RSI is under 7. So this is something you could key on. I think that once we get to 727 or 26, Steve's not going to be with us today, but when he comes up and there's things I can't find on my own, because Steve, a lot of people are better with extension work than I am, which wave to use for the extension. and he came up with about 726, 727 in US dollar yuan. And maybe that's what's going to happen here is that, one, confirmed pullback. Two, this is your first, not sell short, but maybe get out of longs because price isn't confirming, momentum is not confirming price. Okay. So we have this happening in the metals. Also, gold pulled back with the big recovery we had in the end. That's not a bad looking day, is it? So it didn't have divergence on shorter TFs, but on the daily, this new low here, it's glaring, isn't it? And it's the second. So this was your confirmed low. Then we had this low that diverged, and look how much higher this low is. So it's possible that's a bottom. Some of the short-term stuff, just like the S&Ps. In fact, the yen and the S&Ps look a lot alike. Here's your 1 hour yen, and here's your 1 hour S&Ps. Actually, US dollar yen has a little bit stronger structure, but this, I don't think it's a bottom, and we're going to rally to new highs. Even though President Trump said, he's rethinking the trade war. Because when I look at this, I think rallies to 2,900 will be met with a lot of selling for people that were ambushed here, just to get safe. 28.95, 2,900 in here. So, and that tells me that the yen, after this bounce into this range where it really kind of turned very negative under 106 on Friday, it's going to have trouble here. So I wouldn't chase any of this unless you were, up drinking espresso in the US for the turn that I believe it started in Asia, but I think full force was in Europe. Maybe that's where the president made his statement. Of course, he's there for the G6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. So it was probably a European statement. It's funny, Boris Johnson, his ally, is actually the one who said, he's for peaceful trade. Okay, that the UK has made an enormous amount of, gained an enormous amount of wealth in the last 200 years through trade. So pretty interesting political landscape as well. Just something to keep an eye on that, if you want some low volatility, this is for who's over 65 here. Because Paul?
Right? Isn't Blake over 65? No?
No, Blake's still 28. At least that's what he looks 28.
Good
Anyway, this trade has been approved by ARP, which is the, I think, American Associations of Retired People. So this is an ARP FX trade, pretty classic so far. We had the breakdown at 91. And when you look at a little from a macro basis, if this 91 was a neckline, right? Stella, and I know you're in this trade for much lower level. I mean, looking for much lower levels, but just this formation, if it sticks, if we start getting back over 91, you don't have a breakdown anymore, right? So you get out of the way. But just a measured move in round figures takes it down to 89, these lows down here. So this is for, everyone who shouldn't be, but is trading on their Social Security payments and with micros because you're tired of driving to the casino to play the slot machines, video poker. Okay, so this is your video and entertainment trade with one micro on. You can make 20 bucks at objectives, and you might lose three or four. Sounds like you've done it, buddy. Anyway, let's have a great week. Lots of stuff going on. And you know what? We have something else to celebrate, right? It's the end of the summer trading season. We made it. And you know what? There was college football Saturday night. The Gators in Miami. Miami was a big underdog, and they made it a great game. And so, don't worry about me being lonely. My wife, Mrs. Football, is back on. And with that said, I'll hand it over to someone who still plays sports, not just watches sports. My friend, and the emperor of ForexAnalytix,
The
Emperor
Emperor.
Blake Morrow.
The Emperor. It's so funny. I did my fantasy football draft for my league that I've been in for years, and
Yeah,
last night,
you took Andrew Luck.
yeah, I took Andrew Luck right now. I would never have taken that guy ever again. He
Huh?
three seasons ago, he screwed up my season when he got injured, and
Yeah.
it cost me a good chunk of money. Anyway, that amongst other decisions, but the thing is I was talking to one of the other guys, and he's like, yeah, I just told my wife that she has one more Sunday to plan things for the remainder of the year.
How about Saturdays?
Well, I mean,
my wife would say this: "Hey, honey, how come it's on Monday, and then it's on Thursday, and then it's on Friday, and then you watch college all day Saturday, and then it's Sunday during the day, and then there's Sunday night football."
I know.
So I know it's hard to deal with not having it on a few nights a week.
So yeah, it's that time of the year, and I really look forward to this time of the year as well, because it's it's nice to
Yeah,
be able to watch some sports. But
and you're 2 months away from it cooling off there.
Yeah,
It always happens around Halloween. I lived there.
Oh yeah, it around Halloween. It used to be Halloween night. We'd wear a jacket when we'd be out trick or treating. Not so much nowadays. Over the last probably 20 years, it's gone up probably by 5-7 degrees because of all the cement. So everything retains its heat more. So it's not as cool here in the valley. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Let's talk a little bit.
Good warning on the S&P Friday.
Well, thank you. The Friday ended up being one of it's like I had a huge day. I had and I think my office, we were really well positioned for this euro move on Friday, and it paid off really well.
Yeah, see, so did you hear my intro? I think we've got it now, how the dollar is going to respond with risk on, risk off for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the dollar, I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, and it's something that when I did the event with Pepperstone Securities a few weeks ago, I really outlined the idea that the dollar is going to, the euro will strengthen or the dollar will weaken during periods of risk aversion, and then but it can change. And I think I made the point over the weekend on the week ahead video. We have to see a significant drop in the S&P for the market to actually look at equities and go or look at the dollar and say, I need to buy dollars right now.
Will 2640 do it in the S&Ps? Because if you look at the range, Blake, if you have the S&Ps up on like the 4 hour or something, you just look at the formation. It from the lows that we just held here, and the recent high, the high at 3030, it measures 160 handles or so.
No, look at the S&P. Look at the chart that I have up here, and this is, I mean, you're talking all the way down to 2,500 before the market gets a little freaked out. I mean, even on this last move, when we saw this last year, at the end of last year, we saw this big sell-off. It was almost it was a 20% sell-off actually from the highs.
That was a hard one to buy down there, man.
It really was, because we were sinking fast, and
all the momentum indicators confirmed. I mean, there was no reason except to think, well, things are cheap, I'll buy it.
Yeah, you're right. But at that point, we saw the stock market sell off, and the dollar never responded to that. And if you remember last year at this time last year in the fall, everybody was like, when's the dollar going to strengthen? When's the dollar going to strengthen? I'm like, we have to break down. Once the market gets actually scared, I mean, this was, granted, this was a little scary, but you gotta say, when the market really can confirm that things are turning for the worse, that's when I will go, okay, I need to start looking at buying dollars from a safe haven standpoint. And so let's just imagine, going into this fall, if we drop down to 2,500, I won't be looking at the dollar as a safe haven currency, unless, I mean, there's maybe a certain situation, that could spur some dollar strength, and maybe it has to do with Brexit, and we get a hard Brexit. You know what I mean? That's entirely possible, but or maybe it's a European issue where there's no reason to own euros.
Deutsche Bank or something like that.
Yeah, or Italy's leaving the European Union. I don't know, but I have to have a reason to buy the dollar, unless we break below 2,500. Then I'll say, now the dollar should be viewed as a safe haven currency, or at least we'll be looking at that possibility.
Interesting.
So right now, let's just, taking a look at the euro dollar. The euro dollar really has showed the thing that I need to point out the most is that the euro did not make a lower low on this dip. This dip below 111 down towards 110.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just yawning. It's Monday. I got the case of the Mondays here. So the dip below 111 did not create a lower low. And so with that, knowing that, you got to be a little careful being on the short side of the euro. And now all we're doing today is we're dipping back to the major support / resistance is 111.11. I mean, one of my triggers on Friday to buy more euro was a break above 111.15. I mean, I got really aggressive right through here on Friday, and this is where I made the majority of my money on Friday, was right here. Oops, about right through there. That's where I made the majority of my money, is just getting aggressive through here. But here we are, basically tagging that same area. So if you're short the euro, you got to be a little careful, because right now you can see the markets, the S&P, we had this nice snapback overnight. The reason why we had this snapback rally overnight was the fact that that China is reaching out, wanting to make things better, negotiate a little bit more, and the China's coming back to the table. So we'll see how the next couple of days develop with the China-U.S. relations. But that's the whole reason why we rallied off the lows. A couple of things that we should note about this move. There's actually a few things that we should note, and this is where it gets kind of tricky trade wise, because from an intraday standpoint, I'm not really I can't say 100% sure what I want to do down here. I have bought some euros this morning. I own a little bit, and the way I'm going to make money is if stocks start to weaken again. I mean, I know that. So and I'm not married to owning the euro, because if it drops back below 111, then I have to get out of it. It's just I think this is from a risk reward standpoint, we had a nice rally, a nice squeeze. We've come back to key support. I bought some down here. I own some euro like right at current levels, and if we drop below 111, then I'll just get out of it and go back to the drawing board. But it is a little tricky right now, because if you look at like the S&P, broke through support overnight, or I believe that was at the open. We broke through support, and then we posted a false breakdown, and we rallied back. Okay, you look at all the yen pairs. Like, here's the dollar yen, And by the way, I went long dollar yen overnight. If how many of you guys? Let me ask you this question. I'm going to look at the comments here. Give me a second. Let me get over to them. How many of you guys listening in right now are ForexAnalytix subscribers? You know, you use ForexAnalytix, because I'm gonna teach you how to queue off of ForexAnalytix. You may not. I can't, and we can't put in patterns in play. We can't put in patterns in play for everything, because usually a pattern in play is going to represent a something that happened by the book, you know. But there's a lot of intraday stuff that I do, and if you look at, oh, I have the US dollar Japanese yen up right now. So if you look at the US dollar Japanese yen, this is my update last night. Possible false breakdown below the 2019 lows previous, and the pair back above the 105.10 level could fill the gap to the 105.30s. And here's the 4-hour chart that I posted. We broke into new lows, we rallied, and a rally back above this resistance right here would fill the gap. So I went long the dollar. I went long the dollar yen last night at 105. I think it was 105.08, and then I got profitable. It rallied to the 30s after I sent out that update. Now I moved my stop up to break even. I put in a limit to take profit at 105.62 or something, and I got limited out. You know, I got limited out overnight on a squeeze. Now, but the tricky part is, what do you do now? Because your guess is as good as mine. You know, like I said, I'm buying a little euro down here, but you know, do you go short dollar yen because you're like, oh, this is a bunch of crap, and China said this before. They haven't really changed their stance. They always say they want to negotiate as long as it's on their terms, and you want a short risk? Or do you believe that China really China and the US are going to really move forward in some sort of trade talk, and you want to, you know, be long risk right now, then you go long the dollar yen? I don't know. It's tricky. I don't for if you're looking at the dollar yen, I don't know if I'd be buying it here per se, because it's had a nice rally from the lows, right? I mean, you look at the lows, we're at the 618 retracement. If you are bullish risk and you're like, oh, well, I think stocks are going to go up from here. China, US are going to, you know, they're going to put something together, and ultimately, because that's going to be in the best interest of all the parties involved. So I want to be long risk. Well, I don't know if I'd buy the dollar yen here. What I'd probably wait for is a dip, maybe down to, you know, 105.30 again, something like that, and then look for a rally. You know what I mean? Or if you're in the camp of, you know, no, I think things are just going to worsen from here. This is a bunch of BS, and, you know, China and the U.S. are going to, you know, continue to wage this trade war. No one's going to back down. Then if that's the case, then it might be a good short from here. And for me, what I'm doing is I'm just playing the euro on the long side, because I know where my risk lies. It's below 111. I mean, if we drop back below 111, I get stopped out, and I took my shot, right? So it's not clear right now. And I think if you didn't make your money last night on the dip last night, then it's going to be more difficult to try to make money now. I think now is kind of, you're going to get a lot of back and forth in the markets. I think you got to be pretty conservative in what you're looking to get out of the markets today. Like Dale pointed out just a little while ago, it is the last week of summer. It is the last week of summer, and I doubt that the market is going to be too enthusiastic, pushing too far in one direction or the other, because anybody that was short risk over the weekend, they probably got stopped out. They were short, and then it squeezed through some resistance. They got out, and anybody who bought risk last night knew that, oh yeah, that was the time to buy it.
Also, Blake, you know what I've noticed after these holidays, that if there was a big move that the huge money missed, they have the ability to set the market up for entries for themselves. You know, I believe big money's always either they're accumulating or distributing positions, right? And say, for example, you know, we're lower into Labor Day. They will generate a rally so they could short it. So just something I've noticed, that there will be some counter trend moves for the hedgies that missed whatever happened while they were still on the beach.
Yeah, I don't think.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's specifically what is intending to be done, but
it's rigged, you know it.
Well, but I do think that you're gonna get people this morning that are probably looking at what had transpired overnight and are thinking, oh, this is BS. You know, China's not going to come back to the table. They're too prideful. They're just luring, U.S. back to the negotiation table to mess with President Trump, and ultimately they want to keep this trade war going because they can sustain for the next year and make it really tough for President Trump to get reelected, so they can deal with a new incoming leader.
Hubris, bro. That he thought he was doing the squeezing, and now he's going to get squeezed.
Right, but there's going to be people with that idea, and so you're going to get. I think after this rally overnight, you're probably going to get people trying to push down the equity markets again. As people go, they call the markets bluff. I don't know. That's my gut feeling, but that doesn't mean that that's correct. But for that reason, I've picked up a little euro dollar long. You know why else I picked up euro dollar long this morning? Stelios knows.
Because they lifted capital controls in Greece.
Damn, Skippy. Now we got Greeks on the loose, and everybody's going to be spending. So the euro dollar is going like to 120 again, because now Greeks can spend. No, I'm joking. I'm joking about that.
There's nothing to control because they don't have any money.
That's some pretty big news for you guys, Stel. That you guys have some lifting of capital controls. How's that?
This is basically really good for sentiment, because it's been a month and a half that the new government is in, and there was no chance of lifting capital controls before with the previous government. So it's all about getting sentiment up. And also, I have a few friends who have their own companies. They import stuff. It was a nightmare with when they're importing stuff from other countries because they now want all the money up front for the product. And obviously, if you have capital controls, you can't take money out. It was a nightmare. So I think small and medium enterprises are going to do quite a bit better, and it just feels a lot better. Having said that, Greece is a tiny bit of Europe, right? It shouldn't have any effect on the upside.
It wouldn't have any effect. Yeah,
on the upside, no. Only on the downside.
I was totally joking about that. But for you guys though, it's got to feel good. When's that go into effect?
1st of September, so it's done basically. Yeah.
Okay, so 1st of September, you're gonna have financial freedom again. You can move money around. And
they are lowering taxes for corporations and for individuals. They're doing a lot of good stuff. So let's see how it goes. I don't want to say Greece is fixed yet, but really, it's doing okay so far.
Yeah, from what we've seen, the Greek economy has been doing better than like the rest of the Eurozone. Which is...
after a 50% drop or 40% drop in GDP. Actually, we have numbers in about 2 seconds. We have durable goods.
We do have. Oh, here they go. Durable goods orders are out. And what do they come in as, Stel?
core durable goods are worse than expected, and durable goods are actually higher than expected. So I think net actually small lower revisions. I don't think it should be a huge should have a huge impact on the dollar, and dollar yen is hardly moving.
Oops. Yeah, dollar yen's not even moving. I could put it on 1 second chart. I don't even know why I did that on accident. So, yeah, I mean, the dollar's not doing anything here. So, okay.
Now we know, Blake. Blake trades off tick charts.
Yes, I'm a tick chart trader. This is exactly what I do. I'm very good at it. Very efficient.
Yeah.
I
use a 2.5 pip stop off the tick chart.
There you go. That's
just because I like to generate commissions to get rebates, which you can get from our sponsors.
That's right. If you contact Forest Park FX, you can get rebates or even ForexAnalytix for free. So make sure you contact Forest Park FX, and you can contact them right through our website where it says reimbursement program, and you can talk to them right here on Skype or email. All right, that was a good segue, Coach. That was a totally unintended, Anyway,
very good commercial.
Hey, yeah, really. So Forex Gal, DJ, Gary, Hera, Rick. Hopefully, you guys that are using ForexAnalytix kind of got a clue into, when I was looking at the dollar yen, what I was posting there, and how I traded it, because ForexAnalytix is not a. So just so everybody knows, and everybody should know this, it is not a signal service. We don't say buy this, sell that. I mean, if you're in the chat rooms, if you're in this chat room here, and I'll put up the guys in chat here. If you're in the chat room and you can read, like I put in a little earlier, hey, I'm buying the euro dollar down here, but it doesn't mean that you should be buying the euro dollar. I'm just kind of telling you guys what I do. Yes, you guys are on Jumbotron. Let's see, Jumbotron. For those of you that don't know what Jumbotron is, Jumbotron's the big. They call it those are the big TVs when you're at a sporting event. Like oh look, we're on the Jumbotron. But anyway, so everybody here in the chat room, you guys can see it's still pretty busy for summer. I mean, we got 75, 76 people online. It's good. In the wintertime or during season, we usually have about 100. So, it's summer. Everybody's on vacation.
1 week.
1 week, and by the way,
I found the summer trading season. How about you?
Oh, it was great volatility. I actually, this month is my highest producing month of the year thus far. If I stopped trading right now, which probably isn't a bad idea considering the week, being August, I should probably
Congratulations, brother.
Thanks, man. I mean, and sorry guys, I'm going to pull you off. I'm just saying that it's been the volatility's been good, but when the fall season starts, like our trading season really starts this next couple of weeks. So this is the last week of summer, and by the way, I don't want to deter any of you guys from trying ForexAnalytix. However, here in the next couple of weeks, if you've been waiting to join the ForexAnalytix community, we offer some of the biggest deals of the year here in the next couple of weeks. So just stay tuned for that. If you guys are waiting to join us, because you'll get some pretty good deals. And for those, there are people that actually that have signed up for ForexAnalytix, and they'll still take advantage of the offer. We'll give you a better deal once the deals are announced too, if you just don't want to wait. But let's talk. We have Paul Franco coming in here in a little bit, so I don't want to. I want to make sure I leave some stuff for Paul to talk about. But what I was mentioning to you guys earlier is things that I was looking at. But I got a question about like the US dollar Swedish krona. This US dollar Swedish krona has been an extremely strong currency pair. I've been very tempted about trading this. I actually shorted the US dollar Swedish krona, that false breakout here. I think I blogged about it. I shorted the Swedish krona the next day, which I made money because I noticed the false breakout. So I made money the next day. Then I've left it alone. But if you think that the euro dollar right now is going higher, the US dollar Swedish krona may not be a bad short here. you know, because I think your risk is manageable. I'm not going to overexpose myself and be long euros and short US dollar Swedish krona. But look, and I'm going to point this out here. If you want to short the US dollar Swedish krona, you know what your risk is. And as a trader, okay, as a trader, we can't control what happens in the market. There's something that really irritates me in the something that irritates me when people do analysis. They're like, oh, the euro's going here, or the dollar's going here, or blah blah. And it's like, you don't know that. I like, for me, if I'm trading the euro, like, I'm going long, but I don't know if it's going higher. I hope it goes higher, but I'm going long right now because I can manage my risk, right? That was my whole thesis right now is, hey, I'm going long the euro and hopefully it bounces because I know that my risk is below here, right? My risk is ultimately right there. Okay. So I'm not saying, oh, the euro's going higher. The euro's going to go higher, and we should test 130 from here. I don't try to make predictions like that, and it really kind of irritates me. It's one of my pet peeves when people just make assumptions. That's where something's going to go, like with with confidence. Oh, it's going here. Oh, it's going there, and you really don't know if it's going there. I'm long the euro because I hope it goes higher. But I'm trading based on risk reward. And that's the same thing with the US dollar Swedish krona. It's like, the only thing that we can control as traders, the point I was trying to make is, the only thing we can control as traders is our risk. That's it. That's the one variable you and I can control. Like, if I go, I'm trading the US dollar Swedish krona, I'm going to short it right now because my risk is right here. Maybe it's above this high, the spike high, but you can say, oh, it's above that trend line. Great. What did I just do there? I didn't want, oh, I grabbed the wrong thing. Whoops. Let me delete that. So, what I'm trying to explain to you guys is, we don't know where the market's going. It's that we have zero control. Zero. You can make all the assumptions you want. You can try to, try to palm read your way through the markets if you want. But the fact of the matter is, only thing we can control is our risk. And if you buy or sell a currency and you can manage your risk, then that's the most, and you can manage it well. Like, I look at this and I go, oh, look, I'm going to risk $1 here to make, $3 back down here, right? So you're risking 1 to make 3. That's all we can do, right? It's just, put us in an opportunity, put us in a situation where we have good risk reward. That's it. I don't know where the dollar's going. And I could sit here and I don't point it out when people try to, like, make these predictions of where the market go. I'm like, you can go ahead and make your own bed by doing that, but you're going to look like a fool a lot of times, because I can sit here and go, oh, the dollar's going up, and then all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, some tweet comes out or some news comes out, and it goes 100% the opposite direction. I look like an idiot. So all I can do, again, and all we can do as traders, is just try to get into positions where we manage our risk the best as possible. That means you got to cherry pick where you're entering. Like, if I was looking at this US dollar Swedish krona, I was trying to be on the short side. Hey man, if you can get as close to this 968 as possible and get on the short side, then you can really manage your risk well. Because that's what we do, right? As traders, we manage risk. So Anyway, I just want to throw that out because somebody asked me about the US dollar Swedish krona a bit ago. Stelios, so he's here joining us today. So what's up, Stel? Does what I say make sense?
Absolutely, and I just wanted to say there are some people who can affect the markets, like Donald Trump. But let's not go there. But yeah,
yeah. But you're not one of them, and no one here listening in or trading on our level can control the market at all. So
no, I was just kidding, of course.
Yeah, no, I know, but I know you were, but does that make sense? It's like I that's why it's one of my pet peeves when, like, people say with certainty, dollar's going here, the Canadian dollar is going there, Aussie dollar is going there. It's like you don't know that. I mean,
I agree with you, and like you said, the most important thing, in my opinion, when you're trading is risk management. Because if you stack the probabilities on your side and you do the your trade sizing and your risk reward ratio right, even if you're 50-50 right, which is usually what good traders are, you end up making money because you repeat and you make more than you lose. That's the main thing. So
also, guys, even if you call it, it doesn't matter unless you trade it.
Yes.
Well, that's true too. That's I tweet
Right.
that. I tweet that every once in a while, like probably once a year or so. A tweet comes out from me because I get irritated to a point where I follow people on Twitter, and people like, oh, see, I called it, and it's like, I don't care how you called it. How did you trade it? And I was, and this is a point I was making in the chat room yesterday or Friday. I was in the chat room, and I had a big day on Friday, and I congratulated the people that have really fought through this summer or this year, because this has been, frankly, the toughest trading year that I've had. Not the least profitable, because I'm trading much bigger size than I ever have, the last few years, being with the firms that I've been with. But for those people that have survived, I congratulate them, because this has been really one of the toughest trading environments around. Um, and I I had to, and I made the point. It's easy. It was so much easier for me to trade as a trading my own money, because if I lost some, it didn't matter as much because it was my own money. But with a firm, I trade for a firm, and I've been trading for basically the same firm, sister companies, but basically the same principles for the last 3 years. And I have to perform. If I don't perform, I lose my job. And so for me, it's really a, I have to be, I can't just sit in a position for like a extended period of time and hope it turns around eventually. I really have to manage my risk at all times, and very carefully too at that. So, and I can't let trades get away from me. I have to, squeeze out as much profit as possible. And when I see it, I have to take it a lot of times. And so, it's been for me a really, really more challenging environment this last year and a half, or this last year actually, because it's so unpredictable. The moves are, the moves have been so unpredictable. So if you guys have actually, those of you that are listening in are true testaments of those people that have survived. I mean, if you've made money this year, or you've broken even. I mean, I've made money this year. I've actually, made money. It's my least productive year of the last 3 years, but I'm still making money. Just not as much as I had the last 2 years, but it's still, I'm still being productive. And and if you're keeping your head above water the last year or the last 9 months, you have to be really happy about that. And I think you should be very proud of yourself. And even if you're down a little bit, hey, if you're down just a little bit, it's good, because volatility, I feel, is picking up quite aggressively, and it will continue to pick up through the next 6 months to a year as we go into this next the election year. So kudos for those of you sticking around. What? You are supposed to be here. I thought. Will you? I almost let out the F word. Go on vacation with your wife.
I just arrived like 10
leave
minutes
us alone. Please leave us alone. Your wife does not appreciate you being on the webinar right now. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Actually, that's not the case.
This is not a good marriage. This is not.
We just arrived, and she has to also return some business calls. So I thought I might as well give it a shot to see how good the internet is, and perhaps I can, help you get away 10 minutes earlier.
No, it's really fine. But I'm going to tell you, you want to stay married for a few years. My suggestion to you is don't pick up the phone, don't jump on Skype, don't jump on the webinar, and make sure you tell your wife the next 3 days that she is the most important person in your life and everything else is secondary. By showing her that, you might actually get a little. Wait, what did I say? I'm just kidding. Joking. All right. Anyway, all right. So what did you want to say to us now that I got that out?
First of all, I have no idea what you've already talked about. But one thing that jumps to me, besides the fact that stocks held the triangle despite the intraday breakdown, both on Friday and pre-market today, is the very interesting spike high triangle to test the 1550 area. Quite an interesting developing
well
here.
Steve,
So
let me go ahead and confirm that your internet is not that good.
Yeah, I agree. It's cutting, it's breaking up. So
why don't you go enjoy your vacation? We really appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on Thursday. How about that? Go tell your wife she's the most important thing in the world.
Hey Blake, what time's my appointment with you this afternoon?
Do you need me to work things out between you and your wife? Good.
Yeah,
I'm here all day.
All right. I'll give you $1 million.
All right. So hey, the good news is we lost Steve, but we gained Paul Franco. Yeah. Paulie, are you here this morning?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Hey,
clean
good morning.
internet.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Good. How did you fare last night with the moves in Asia? I know it was obviously pretty volatile, and I'm sure in the European crossover webinar you probably had a lot of action there. So how did you guys fare?
In Europe it hasn't been that if you want to call it tumultuous. Although we did see the S&Ps come back, and actually they came back to a level that we were looking at, which was just a hair below the 61%. But
Paul, was there anything there in the yen that turned it down there that you had?
Not that
around the lows.
Analysis into the week that I did early on Sunday was that we would because the market finished lower on Friday. We said they were going to be pushing for the flash crash lows, which they did take it out a few pips and turn around. But and also the only thing is also with the euro, when we did the analysis for the week, and I'll go on and make a notation here on the, let me go back in here, which I think is still important. It said the euro saw a nice rebound rally from the week's lows, but at the end of the day was incapable of closing above key level 1154. Bulls will look to buy dips to 1113, and bears will make a stand at 1196. I've seen some notable traders that were bearish euro, and they're saying, yeah, it's still going back down. And the thing is that we didn't take out that 1154. Now this is a good area, and actually I'm long here. We talked about it in the European crossover webinar. Our bias chart support today is 1113. I haven't showed that we have a level at 1110, and that's actually I think where the market stopped. I think it took it out by 1 or 2 pips.
So do you want to show people what you're looking at?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm here. Just go ahead and you can take the
Let me see if I can grab the screen. Hold on. Let's see. Let me go to 6. Can you see my screen now?
Yep, we can.
Great.
There's 8 charts.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are in the euro, and let me go on and take a look. I always keep the daily on the right hand, on the left hand side, and this is a level that we were looking at last week. I mean, the entire week. And actually, I got clipped in long about the area that Blake was talking about, where he got aggressive. Well, that was the area that I picked up on the way down, and the doggone euro just kept going down, down, down. I'm thinking this thing's going to turn around. Fortunately, I hung on through Friday. I was thinking, you know what, if we break 1020 on a closing basis, I'm just going to have to call it a loss, and it'll be a pretty decent loss. But we did go in and come back with the euro. Blake traded it just superbly. Blake was in the chat room. So once again, y'all don't take a advantage or a 10-day trial with ForexAnalytix. Honestly, it's your loss, because I keep saying time and time again, a lot of the guys talk about the analysis, which is great, basic technical harmonics, Elliott wave, the data flow, the data minder. But to me, the real strength is the chat room. And you have a plethora of traders with different styles, all very supportive and very sharing. Blake was right there, just spelling it out, what he was doing. Even when it was down there, Blake was like, I don't know if it's going to turn, but let's see what happens. And fortunately for me, it did turn around. We were looking for a move, and I stayed long until finally we had our bias chart support at 1129, resistance, and we got above it. But the reason I'm saying that is, like Blake says, who cares where someone says this is where this was? It's how you trade it. And so I thought by the end of the week, we would be challenging 1160, 1170 by the time Powell came on, but we were still under under a bit of weather. And what really kicked the euro around was when Trump came on and said he had something up his sleeve. So then you had traders scrambling to cover the shorts.
And that's something up his sleeve. I mean, everybody's speculating that he is actually he's about ready to do something to actually weaken the dollar. And I think that's a risk that people forgot about over on Friday, that I think can still spill over into this week. And he has something in store for the dollar, and whether it's some sort of taxation or I don't know what he's going to do, but he wants to weaken the dollar from here. From current levels. So
I'm going to go with what you were saying earlier about one of the things I have noticed where his tone has changed. And here's that area that we were talking about. Come back, and Blake mentioned it himself. He mentioned it during in the chat room earlier in the week too. I mean, towards the end of the week, he said, "Hey, if this 1110 is going to be key," and that's where he got aggressive. And I ended up buying this thing on the way down, and it just kept going down. I just couldn't believe how much it kept weakening. We had a good support level here in this area, but still this euro just couldn't buy a bid. But to me, one of the things I have noticed there, he's completely changed his tone. Is, if you've even seen the tweet he just put out with, "Oh, great, fantastic meeting with Modi, the Indian PM." He said the same thing just about an hour ago. "Oh, great, fantastic thing with Merkel." And then I was even surprised that he retweeted some Canadian journalist had actually trashed him, and even said that verbatim that Trudeau has been trash talking Trump, and Trump goes, "Oh no, it was all a good meeting." And I'm thinking, he's trying to spin his, he, like you said, he basically broke everything. Now he's trying to spin everything to say, "I get along with everybody. I don't know what everybody's talking about. I get along with everybody." So I think he is the losses that we've seen in the S&Ps have taken their notice with him, and now he's trying to fix things. So I think that the market today is kind of like thinking itself through, and so I'm long the euro, but I'm suspect for any moves to have higher.
If that is the case, I mean, if he's trying to show face that he can do okay with the rest, isn't that probably a sign that he's not going to have a deal with the Chinese? I mean,
that's exactly what I thought too. You had a great
deal with the Chinese. He wouldn't care about showing how good he does with the rest, because he would then make a deal with the Chinese and present it like, okay, this is the result of me being a tough guy. You know what I mean?
I saw here where they had a big story over the weekend about him saying he had second thoughts about the tariffs, but then the administration, they tried to play good cop, bad cop, and they said, "Oh no, that's not correct. We were trying to actually push for higher tariffs," basically saying Trump's the one that's a calm one. We're really aggressive. It was basically the good cop, bad cop. So I think that's the way he's trying to spin that. I did want to go and state too that the peso is coming into some nice support here at 1982. here with the peso. And I think Blake had mentioned on his webinar, not webinar, but the week ahead video, that he was long the euro Mex peso. And
Oh, I took that off actually as soon as the market opened.
You did fantastic. Here's where I had before the market opened. This is where we had our resistance, and I thought about you. I'm like, oh my God, Blake killed it on this trade here. Let me go right here. Here's where we had our resistance here, and once again, I just go by the touches here. No great analysis by me. I just go by the touches and use some Fibonacci. And but this was above that. But I said, in case we do gap, we're looking for this area between 2006 to 2011.3, and the high was 2012. I wasn't doing anything with the peso, but I know that Blake was long Euro pace, Euro Mex. And man, he obviously, like you said, you already mentioned in the webinar that, or the week ahead, that you already did well on the close, but you thought it might have been exaggerated. And all we did was just open up even further. So you must have started out today with an absolute bang.
It was, yeah, and unfortunately, it wasn't as big of a position as I wanted because it was over the weekend, so it wasn't. But I actually took it off at 22.29.
We are into some support right here with the dollar peso. If anyone's looking, we actually had buy chart support at 1987. So it's dipped below that, but this is a nice area right here. This 1982 too. You see here's the rally up, and then we kind of stall, we pair back. So this is a good area. I mean, if someone's short or they're looking to step in and a bit of a value buy, but my concern here is with the euro, because at the end of the day, it still didn't take out 1154. Now I think it's still open. If we were to rally here with the euro, I think then shorts will be pressed, but they won't get pressed until I think that is going to be their Alamo stand will be up here closer to 12, like about 1194. I think that's where they'll hunker in. And if we get past that, then we can trigger some stops. But this is a very good value area that Blake pointed out. I'm long myself, but and I think it might be because of we had such big moves and they're going to wait till equities open. But I'm not too thrilled with the way it's
Whoa. Something just happened with the dollar yen. Dollar yen just pressed above.
It just up to 6 now. Right here now.
I bet yields are probably going up pretty good right now with the yen in this action.
Yeah, we do have 10 years 154.3 right now.
Yeah, from where it was last night, Paulie.
And the Bund is still just kind of hanging near its highs, but the real resistance on the dollar yen comes in at 674.
Gold's almost back to unchanged after being up $25 last night.
Yeah, and it was kind of hanging around here.
Gold is the highlight of the day, in my opinion, because 1550 is a huge. We touched it today earlier in the day.
Oh, you're talking about the gold market?
Yeah. Congestion area, and after. I think the
third drive, everything was there.
Yeah, here
COT, everyone's been pounding the table.
Exactly. I think the highlights of the day from a technical perspective is
Blake's going to be mad at you that you're back on the air. You're back on the air.
No, his wife's going to be mad. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
My wife is even in the room. She has a business.
But it's your actions. Your actions.
Yeah. You should just be sitting on the bed with your
waiting with a rose in your mouth or something.
Steve, take advice from me, Steve. I'm very successful.
If she says do what you want, it's fine. It's fine. Translate, it's not fine. So go.
Right, yes, exactly.
They're very cryptic.
Stelios,
give me the benefit of the doubt. I've been with my wife since September 2004. I think I know her well.
Well, maybe in another 15 years.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
But we see that gold came up pretty close to a weekly resistance level here at 5064. Just came up just a bit shy, but that's a pretty key level right there.
I think this is a huge development. I think that if gold closes at the lows of the day today, there is a very, very good chance that that's going to be the beginning of some type of a corrective move lower. And
Katerina left to go get the gold coins that you had hidden.
Yeah,
and she's cashing them out right now.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And Blake, I'm sure you saw it before I came online. USDMXN also got rejected from the massive long-term symmetrical triangle today.
Actually, I did not. I didn't get a chance to get there, but
Steve's addicted to being on a webinar.
I'm telling you, he is, man. He can't control himself.
Steve, do you want to stick around?
I must be heard. I must be
stick
heard.
around and ask questions of our guest today.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm gonna let you guys go. And Paul, I want to thank you for joining. Steve, your wife, thanks you for joining. Stelios, thanks for being here. Coach, thank you for always being the host, the best host. And
thanks.
And I know you got to get to your interview. So
Paul Franco of the Dream Team, you have to watch the European crossover to get the edge for the U.S.
Absolutely. And the
And Steve, your show is coming on next month. That's the European cross-dresser.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
All right. Anyway.
So you have an interview, Coach?
Yeah, I'm going to be talking to Victor. So,
okay, perfect. Is he here?
He is here. So Victor, welcome back. I'm promoting you as probably the only promotion you've gotten being in this business. Have you ever been to a retirement dinner for, oh, I thought I just moved. Oh yeah, there. For a trader? I don't think. Okay. Victor, are you there? I don't see that you're muted. Oh. Victor?
I still don't see a microphone next to his name.
Yeah, I don't either. So Victor, if you could hear me, you have to select the audio from the drop-down menu so that we could hear you. Hope you have a mic to talk to us. You want to try and help him, Steve? Maybe it is a good thing you're here. Okay, I think I hear him shuffling around. Is that
no,
you,
that
Victor?
was me.
Oh, okay.
That was me. I still don't see a microphone next to his name. Yeah. So first of all, he needs to give us some kind of a feedback. I mean, you know, if he has a microphone.
To us in chat. Let me look and see if he's
use chat. Let's do metal, gold, and silver, please, if the guest is not available. Hamid.
And Hamid, it's
I absolutely have no problem. Show. I absolutely have no problem if the guest isn't here. I switched my internet to my 4G router. Is he?
He's here. Well, I see. He's here. I just don't see a mic. Let me see if he's trying to get a hold of me on Twitter.
Yeah, check that out.
No, he's not. All right, go ahead.
I'm going to make an attempt to take the screen. I'm warning you. I'm on, you know, I'm on 4G internet. So, you know, let me know, Coach.
Okay.
If you can see me and if everything is coming through okay.
Yeah, I got your charts.
Okay. Please stay with me because, you know, it's 4G, so it's not that reliable. So the few things I wanted to show, and of course, if we hear your guest, you know, I'll pass it immediately to him.
Okay.
So one massive technical development that we've had today is USD-MXN. Why is it a massive technical development? It's very easy to see on this chart. I mean, this symmetrical triangle dates back to the very beginning of 2017. And once again, so far today at least, we get rejected from the same trend line resistance. And not only we get rejected, look at the daily candle so far. That is, besides being you know, might be a key reversal by the end of the day. What it definitely is a dark cloud cover having to do with the daily so far from what we see. So this is a very nice reversal on an extremely interesting technical zone. As you see, the 61.8 was also a little bit lower here. Horizontal support resistance area. So one technical development worth mentioning is this. The other one is gold. Gold earlier on spiked higher to make it here. Look at the importance of the zone. There you go. You see,
Victor, if you could type something in the chat box.
Congestion area, multiple highs and lows between 2011 and 2013 when we finally broke below it. Given the fact that we had RSI divergence, what Coach was expecting, a 3 drive formation, So far, this seems to be the case. So add to that the RSI divergence. Add to that the fact that we broke above the triangle for one last spike higher, which is a quite usual behavior after a triangle. And add to that the fact that we know that sentiment and positionings are extreme. All of those point to an increased possibility of reversal. Now, does this mean that gold is going lower from here, like 70% chance or whatever? No, absolutely not. The chances of a reversal here are like, in my mind, like 30, 40%. But here comes the important part. Is that a bad probability? No, it isn't. Why? Because you have an amazing risk-reward ratio in hand, right? So is it a bad thing to trade a potential reversal, even if it has like 30, 40% chance of happening, when you can risk, what is it in this case? Of course, you will adjust leverage when you can risk, let's say 1.5% roughly to make, let's see.
Just a day trade from last night was 7%. Nice. Yeah.
I think it's amazing. So I have to say that if you remember, Coach, I
1480 silver you talked to.
Yeah, I was always pushing against people that were making mentions of trying to fade gold until today. Yeah. So, as I was extremely against trying to fade it too early, I can tell you that if today somebody tries to make an argument to me that, listen, I'm looking to be short gold here with a stop against the highs, I will have nothing to say against that. It makes sense. It is a trade that now makes sense in my mind, okay? Silver obviously looks better today. So far, not an obvious reversal.
The gold-silver ratio breakdown?
We're going to see that immediately after this.
Okay.
But
I don't think Victor's going to have a mic today. That's the way it looks to me.
Okay, Coach. So I'm going to, as long as you can hear me and see me fine, I'm going to go for a few minutes just to cover some questions, and then, we call it a day.
Okay.
So silver tagged earlier today, this 1770 resistance area. And as you see, it came very, very close to also testing resistance of this ascending channel as well. RSI divergence is also obvious here. We know that sentiment, by the way, this was also the 161.8% extension of the last correction. The 50% fib was at 1750. So in general, between 1750 and 1770, multiple resistances. So this might do the trick here as well. Obviously, gold's potential reversal so far today looks more appealing. And since you mentioned it, Coach, let's see what the gold-silver ratio is doing. And the gold-silver ratio is actually turning lower from here. So perhaps we're not going to get another leg higher, but if we are to get, we should get it soon. Otherwise, we're talking about, a continuation lower. And then the next area of support is quite lower. We might easily make it to the long-term ascending wedge, which we had an overthrow in this case there, which comes roughly at 84. Okay, so gold-silver ratio seems to be accelerating to the downside instead of giving us one more leg higher.
Which it still could if we hold here.
Which is you can see, in another way, which is also confirmation that we will have another leg lower probably. I just expected that we might have had that, from a
ABC
little bit
first.
Higher.
Yeah, ABC first, right?
Exactly. That was a decent probability.
We could still have a C. Still could happen. We lost your audio. I think we should wrap it.
Oh, you did?
Because you're breaking up.
Okay, Coach. It's up to you. It's up to you.
And Victor, if you're still here, let's get together and I'll just work you in and we'll talk about that you need a microphone. And everyone else, hope that the last 48 hours of markets have been kind to you, that your equity's intact. And we look forward to helping you this week and Turnaround Tuesday, and consider becoming part of our community. And with that being said, remember, just like I said to Mark Byrne, the gold guy, don't just count your Krugerrands, count your blessings. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Steve, enjoy yourself. Listen to Blake the rest of the day.
Thank you, Coach. I will.
Advice. And, enjoy. And Stell and Paul, and God, what a team. I feel very fortunate to be part of the ForexAnalytix family. So let's have a great week, everybody. Last week of illiquid markets, and we're going to kill it this fall. So that's a wrap, and we'll see everyone for Turnaround Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day. You know where you can find Blake and the gang in the chat room, and I'll see you on the radio. Adios.